gonna say another thing that's difficult is like trying to figure out a way to start.
Yeah. Uh, you know, we could just go right into talking about why people believe in God.
We could do that as
Yeah.
that is the topic.
Makes some sense. So, why do you think it is that people believe in the far-fetched stories of the Bible?
Yeah, like that's a weird, kind of a weird thing to think about because like I mean, really, when it comes down to it, I think like it all boils down to the same thing, or like the same few reasons, which is like, or no, I think really the big reason is fear of the unknown. I think that's I think that's the number one reason. I think that's
Yeah,
really probably why every religion was started in the first place,
exactly.
with fear of the unknown, and then like, and in the same vein, like uh, people people are really unwilling to accept the fact that life is just full of odd coincidences and circumstances.
Right.
Like, I think what it has to do with is the desire to have some sort of control, and like the closest you could get is just um, believing that there's some sort of being that controls everything. You know, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah. And I think it's also kind of along those lines, like, it's just before science even existed, it was kind of, humans' way of trying to explain why things are the way they are.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it was our first
Yeah,
attempt at philosophy.
yeah, yeah. Like it's just a really weird, I think, control type of thing where like, because like I was reading this National Geographic thing, and they're talking about some of the oldest religious artifacts that have been discovered, and they think that a lot of them had everything to do with like as like farming related, like harvesting, like so
Interesting.
you pray hard enough, and then you'll
Oh,
yield some good
true.
crops.
True.
And I think that might have a lot to do with it. The
Mm-hmm.
fact that like that's the that was people's way of controlling or thinking they have control over stuff that cannot be controlled, like the weather.
Right. Right. If I pray hard enough, then God will make it.
Hmm.
Yep. Makes sense.
Yeah, so there's that. It, like,
Well, I think a lot, another pretty obvious reason is we're just born into it.
mm,
It's a tradition now.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that is essentially like what it has been. Because one of the greatest examples of that is like, so I'm obsessed with Sopranos, and like the like it's such a funny thing how like religious the mafia people are,
Right.
and it's I don't know, it's like a weird thing to think about. Like they're born into it, like because Catholicism is so ingrained in Italian culture.
Right. You can literally become a mobster, but still, just like
Yeah,
pray to Jesus. Yeah.
and then like one of my favorite things involving religion on that show was when Tony was at his therapist, and he's like, he was scared about going to hell. And he's like, I'm a soldier. Soldiers don't go to hell.
I need to watch that.
Oh, you haven't?
Not yet. I need to. Like, I have no reason for not watching that show. I have no reason for it.
Oh, it's so good. Probably the best show ever.
Yeah. That's what I'm hearing. Like, a lot of people seem to have liked it.
Well, like the thing is, it's really funny. Like it's more of a. I really think of it more as like a dark comedy than anything else.
Right. Yeah, I don't know why I haven't seen it. Like, I've seen a couple episodes, but I've never watched it like in its entirety yet.
Oh, well, when you do, we could change the format entirely to just a Sopranos podcast.
There we go. We could spin a little spin-off.
Yeah. Oh, I totally. Oh, you know what? We should actually. Cause if you haven't seen
just
it,
watch Sopranos.
oh, you should. You could watch an episode and we could do like a half-hour like discussion of it. That'd be awesome.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Might be a while, but it'll definitely happen.
Yeah. And just like that, we went off topic and I forgot what I was saying.
Editing, baby.
That's right.
But like, I don't know. It's pretty obvious. It probably doesn't even need to be said, but we get like, I was baptized before I could walk. You know, like, I think I was 4 months old. I didn't know how to speak yet. I didn't know how to walk yet, and I was already part of the church. Like, I didn't have any choice. I didn't have any say in the matter. I was just, here you go. Now you're into the Bible.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's your thing now.
Right. Ta-da. You had no choice in it, but here you go.
Have you seen, or I mean, like, there's people, I guess, like, stage moms, you know, that push their kids into, like, acting or performing when they just want to be kids.
Right.
And, yeah, that's not really okay. So why?
Exactly. That's my biggest thing. But obviously the reason is if you waited until your kids were like 15, 16 to tell them about it, they'd be like, well, fuck off, would you? Like all the shit you told, like, I'm too old to believe this shit. If you waited until people were that old, they wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, and not only that, if I was like 14 or 15, and my parents were like, how would you like to, on 2 days out of the week, when you don't have school, you don't have to get up early, how would you like to get up early anyway?
Right.
Tell them to go fuck themselves. Right. I really would.
Exactly. No. Let's indoctrinate it right away.
And not only that, when I was that age, I used to watch SNL every week. So, you know, I was up. Oh, you want to hear something funny that I don't think I told you? Is, when I was in, like, I don't know, like 6th grade or middle school-ish, this was my move, and I couldn't do it too often or they'd get suspicious, but
right. I'd
be watching SNL, and on the commercial breaks, like really late at night, I would flip the circuit breaker off and then back on so that their clocks would shut off.
It's genius.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go to church the next day?
Nope. And then
that's awesome.
Yeah, they'd tell me about it, and I'd be like, huh, well, that's just the damnedest thing. Yeah.
Well, it must have been a sign from God that you just needed to stay in for the day.
Exactly. That was his will.
Yep. God. That Jesus character.
He's a real wackadoo.
You just never know with him, you know?
You know, we watched, me and Jamie watched Dogma the other day. You've seen that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because George Carlin is the priest, which is terribly ironic.
Yeah.
It was really funny. But, like, when that came out, like, Kevin Smith got so much hate mail from religious groups. And when I was watching it, like, the whole point of that movie was that, like, Christians should just kind of put aside some of their retarded rules and just get along. Like, that was really kind of the message of the movie.
Yep.
And, like, because on his website, a long time ago, he posted a bunch of hate mail about the movie.
That'd be interesting to read. I wonder if it's still up.
I don't know. I haven't looked for that in a while.
I'll try to find that and read it. That'd be good stuff. It's just, I find that so ironic how don't talk about my religion or I'll kill you.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, Islam, bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all silly religions, but the irony is what I'm saying here.
Yeah. Superstition. That is one. That's one reason.
Mm-hmm.
And like superstition is just so fucking maddening.
Yeah, I've always like, even when I was religious myself, I wasn't superstitious on pretty much anything. But the irony even hit me then. Like okay, you believe that God has a plan. Every little tiny thing planned out. Every little step you take is already planned. But if you knock over the salt shaker, you gotta throw it over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Or, like, I think that's a huge reason of why people believe. Because what I think superstition really is like the inability to consider or comprehend, like, mathematical odds.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly. Odd and probability.
Like, yeah. Probability, yeah, that was the word I was looking for, because it's like, well, that one time that I prayed, the harvest was really well. So if I do that every year, and then like
right.
people fail to take into account that the other years were
right.
Yeah, the other years were shitty.
But it worked one time, so it must just be.
Yeah, superstition really is a weird, like, kind of mental illness. Because it's like, I did this one thing this way this one time and everything worked. So then they change, I don't know, they change how they act.
Right.
Based off that.
But then what's even more ridiculous is, say they pray for the same thing the next summer or whatever, and the harvest isn't good. They'll pray the next year, just because it worked once 2 years ago. And if it doesn't work again, they'll pray the next year because it worked once 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, eventually, if you just keep throwing a dart at a dartboard, you'll hit it.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, there are laws of probability. Like, any combination of anything will happen eventually.
Right.
You know, like...
Even a broken clock works twice a day.
There's, like, a thing, I forget what it's called, but, it's basically, like, if you have a room full of, if you have an, infinite number of monkeys with typewriters, and they just hit the key, eventually, like, through the laws of probability, they will type, like, Hamlet.
Right.
And I forget how I was going to apply that to the conversation.
Well, like, just, if you run enough things enough time, whatever it is, it'll happen X amount of times per X amount of times. If you ran it 1 million times and it happened once, it happens 1 in 1 million. So when it happens 1 in 1 million times, it's not a fucking miracle.
Exactly. Yeah, there's nothing miraculous about it. And then, what's weird to think about is that, like, if the universe truly is infinite, that means there's some distant planet somewhere where we're doing this exact same thing and the exact same people are listening, but we're all green.
Right. That's funny you say that, because I don't think a lot of religious people really understand the universe in general either. I don't think they realize how big it is.
No, I think a lot of it, I don't know. I'm sure people take offense by it, but I think a lot of it has to do with honestly laziness or unwillingness to actually think about science. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I think we're too distracted. We have too many football games and too many basketball games, and too many Kardashians, and
Yeah.
too many people singing for a contest. You know, I love sports as much as the next guy, but I feel like sometimes you just gotta take a day off. you know,
Mm.
just one a week. I think if everyone took one, like if we made science a weekly thing on a Wednesday, Wednesday, just that I feel like would be a huge step in the right direction. I'm not suggesting we
Yeah.
do that. I'm just saying if it happened.
Yeah, I don't think like if you could just like it's not even like learning about science. If you could just introduce people to like I don't know some broad concepts like
I think if you just taught enough people the scientific method to begin with.
yes, exactly the method. Yeah,
Like when you hear people like nothing cracks me up more than hearing, well, evolution's just a theory. Like,
yeah,
sure, so is gravity, but we're still here.
yeah.
Gravity's not a law.
Or what just infuriates me is that yeah, sure, in science there's a lot of like missing links and missing skeletons. That doesn't contradict shit.
Right, exactly.
Like if you put together a puzzle and you're missing like a few pieces, you still know what the picture is.
Right, exactly.
And like I don't know, I think in religion it works differently. Like if one thing is wrong, then it all must be wrong.
Right,
Like if you take the Bible as you know uh, fact, then you can't. Like if one thing doesn't make sense, then none of it makes sense.
right,
And that,
exactly. So people
that's
willingly
not how.
choose.
Yeah, yeah. That's not how science works. That's not how.
Right.
Another reason. This is a pretty huge one that I guess I never like thought about too hard before, but like a sense of justice in the fact that like, well,
Interesting.
yeah, a court found him not guilty, but he killed my daughter. He's going to hell. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like oh well, yeah, like he might not have been judged by Earth people or whatever, but he'll be judged in the afterlife. I think that has a lot. I think that's I
That's
think that's a big reason.
I never thought of that, but that's probably very true.
Yeah.
Like, oh, fuck this guy. Maybe I can't do anything here on Earth, but God will have God will have his say.
Yeah, God'll do him like he did Mary.
Right.
Which is to say, rape him.
Impregnate him.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's definitely
I'm gonna have to say that to someone one day. I hope one day God judges you and does does to you what it did to the Virgin Mary. Rape the shit out of you.
But yeah, that's definitely that's got to be a pretty big reason. And then like, it's something I think about a lot, like, cause when like every day I'll read like the news and shit, and then I'll go. Eventually, I'll go to the crime and justice section of whichever news site, and
Right.
like it never fails. Pretty much like of all like the people are on trial for murder, and the evidence is stacked against them. So what do? They turn to God.
Yep. Yep.
I think Ted Bundy did that, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
Just I find it so ridiculous. I found Jesus.
Yeah, the old Jeff Dahmer. Yeah, no, that just happens all the time. Like it's funny, but like it always comes out on trial, like how they found God.
Right.
Like what's really funny is that even like uh, places where the jury's probably going to be highly religious, like even that bullshit doesn't work on trial.
Like, it's the one place where people can still
Yeah,
hear bullshit.
like
about
'cause it
your
happens
religion.
all the time. Yeah, it happens all the time. Like people be on trial for murder or something heinous, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I found God," like trying to appeal to. And I honestly don't think I've ever seen it work.
No. No, because those people want revenge. That's what they're taught.
Yeah, exactly.
Burn the witch.
You know, I gotta say, not to go off topic, God is pretty badass. Like, because I was pretty much raised on like '80s action movies.
Right? RoboCop.
Yeah, like RoboCop, his family gets murdered, and he just fucking kills everybody.
Terminator.
Yeah, I'm like, that's what God is, dude.
Yeah.
He's just like a rogue something with nothing to lose.
Kicking ass and taking names and declaring it good.
That's what he does. My favorite thing ever is the Book of Job.
Yeah.
Like I think everybody knows about that. Like it was just he fucking made a bet with Satan. Like that's what that entire book is about.
Right.
He makes a bet with Satan, and in order to win the bet, he destroys man's life, murders his family, kills, like, drives him into poverty.
Yep. Any other thing on the planet does that, and they're considered a fucking psycho.
Yeah.
But not that Jesus character.
No. You know what's cool as shit?
What's that?
Satan. That dude rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause he was like badass. He's a real maverick. You know, he bucked the system.
Yeah, that's
He didn't
true.
follow no trends.
He was his own kind of guy, you know?
Yeah, and like, you know, just for example, in the world of music or entertainment in general, like, that's what you look for. Is someone who's doing their own thing,
Right.
doesn't follow the rules.
Not afraid to take risks.
Yeah. He's pretty much, yeah. Yeah, Satan fucking rules. No wonder why all the metal guys like him.
Right. Because they know where it's at.
Need for a purpose. That's another reason I jotted down. And that's like a pretty basic human thing. Like, whether you believe in anything or not, like, it's such a human need to feel like you're living for at least something.
At least a purpose.
Yeah.
Or at least have a reason to be here.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. Like, that's one of the reasons I don't quite understand it anymore. I got it at one point when I was, you know, religious.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have to have a reason to be on the planet because some higher power put you here for that reason. Like, you can make it your own reason to be on the planet.
Yeah. And, like, it kind of goes back to the whole, like, need to be in control. Like, humans need to know that they have some sort of control, whether it's through praying or just being a piece of shit, like, you know, billionaire, and then somehow becoming president or something.
Right. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I don't understand, speaking of which, I don't understand, especially now, for the entire fucking campaign in the election in this first year of presidency, I couldn't understand the religious right supporting this guy after all the shit he said. But now it comes out that he had an affair with a porn star and paid $130,000 to keep her quiet during the election. How can any Christian at this point still back this guy?
No shit.
Where's the fucking line? Does he have to rape someone on TV for them to go, oh, maybe this guy's too far? Like, honestly, what does he have to do at this point?
Because it's already been established that he has, like, 50 plus women accusing him of sexual assault to some degree.
Right. And now this comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, it really makes no sense.
I can't, I don't, when Obama was in office, it was, oh, family this, family values that, you know, and then now this comes out, and oh, that's not really that important. What's important is policy. Whoa.
Yeah, now it's important.
Right. That's my favorite thing about the religious right is they both sides do this. Both Democrats and Republicans do this. I just feel like it works on Republican voters more. Is they have no problem just straight up fucking switching stances within the same fucking interview.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. That's what the two-party system gets.
Yep. My team versus your team.
Yeah. No, that's like all it is. That's really what our country's become.
Yep.
It's like my team versus your team. It's unfortunate.
I just don't get. I think we say this almost every episode now. I just don't understand how the religious right chose that side. Nothing about the Republican side is what Jesus would do.
No, yeah, you're right. We have talked about that every time, and it still continues to baffle me.
It does.
Like it makes, like at this point, what it really is like, oh well, you're religious, you're voting Republican. Like that's what it is. It's fucking weird.
No thoughts, no no freedom of choice, apparently.
Yeah.
Their own brain.
Yeah.
Well, I'm religious, so I must be Republican. I'll stand behind this guy who just said on camera that he grabbed him by the pussy and is obviously a sexist and had how old was the youngest Trump kid? Barron Trump was like 4 or 5 months old and we had an affair with a porn star.
Yeah.
Nah,
Oh, that's fine.
No worries.
That's okay.
No problem.
You know what really bothers me about that story the most is he is allegedly, because that's the thing, nobody actually knows how much money Donald Trump's worth.
Right.
He refuses to disclose any of that information. But according to him and most people, he's a billionaire, or at least close to it, and $130,000, because according to the story, he paid it right before he was campaigning.
Right.
So,
right.
That's it.
They probably knew. Yeah.
If you're a billionaire, you could piss on a stack of $1 million and burn it, and that's going to mean nothing to you. $130,000.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he's not a bad businessman. maybe he got a really good price on that.
Actually, yeah. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I give Donald Trump some respect points for lowballing that situation.
Gotta give Trump some points for lowballing that porn star.
Yeah.
That'll be the right, Yeah, but look how good. That's gonna be how they'll spin it. Look how good of a deal he got. He saved himself hundreds of thousands of dollars. He's a genius.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then, one thing. No, I think actually we should save this discussion for a future episode. But people talking Oprah 2020.
Yeah. I don't know about all that.
Oh, God, that sounds. Well, I mean, she is literally as qualified as him, which is to say, not at all.
Right. Yeah, is that what America needs? Is back-to-back celebrity presidents?
That's insane. That is
Yeah.
fucking bad shit.
Oh,
That people think that's a good
it's
idea at
turning
all.
into. Joe Rogan said this before. It's just turning into a popularity contest.
Mhm.
Not who's best for the job.
I mean, that is
It's a joke.
essentially what elections have always been, but not to this degree.
Right.
Never,
Right.
never been like that. I mean, that would have been like if John Wilkes Booth was president, because he was
Right.
probably the most famous actor in the country.
Yeah. Yeah, and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, was talking about running. Come on.
I think he was kind of joking about that, but
Oh yeah.
I will put my endorsement for The Rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
But only if he stays in character. Only if he stays in his wrestling character.
The whole
Like if
time.
yeah, if he like rock bottoms and puts people's elbow on Tony Blair, or not Tony Blair. He hasn't been the prime minister for quite a while.
Yeah, and we've established that Tony Blair is the best choice out of a specific few people. Remember that episode?
Oh, I forgot about that.
So not Tony Blair. You can't the people's elbow Tony Blair. Can you smell what the White House staff is cooking?
Back to the topic. I suppose probably I think, and it goes back into fear of the unknown. But like probably the number one thing that draws people into religion is fear of death.
Yeah. Nice little safety blanket.
Yeah.
Well, if I die, at least I'll go to the afterlife afterwards. No,
Yeah.
stupid.
Probably one of the biggest reasons, and that's of all the reasons, like that's the one that I totally get.
Right.
I don't know. Just for years now, I just assume that when you die, you go to sleep forever and never wake up, which sounds fucking awesome.
I think so.
Because I gotta say, I got up early this morning. I've been tired. Fuck.
Just totally go to sleep right now.
Oh god, eternal sleep sounds fucking badass.
Nice and refreshing.
Oh yeah.
Well, and going back to like we were talking about the universe earlier, I just don't think, I don't think we've seen enough pictures of our own planet.
Yeah.
Like we see some from like the space station and the space shuttle, but there's not a whole lot of pictures of us past that.
Yeah.
Carl Sagan has the famous Blue Dot poem, in which I forgot what telescope it was. Forgive me, but it pointed it pointed towards the Earth when it was around Saturn, I think, and it was just a tiny dot.
Yeah.
Like I don't think enough people have seen that. It's if you didn't know it was Earth, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Like it's humbling.
It really is, and I think it's like egocentrism that like I mean for really the majority of human existence we assumed that everything revolved around us.
Right, and when that's the case, then it's really easy to imagine that God created it all just for you.
Yeah, and I think that like still trickles down today. Like,
yeah,
people just don't want to accept that. I mean, really, we're just a tiny piece of dust floating around on a slightly larger piece of dust. That is really all. Like that summons existence perfectly. Yep. I think.
And that's more awe-inspiring to me than some burning bush in the Bible
Yeah.
or some massive flood for 40 days. Like that's amazing to me.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
We're made of dust. We're made of stardust.
Like, just the thought that if people could actually get along and keep it together, then
Right.
one day we could, like, probably colonize everything that exists.
Yep. I agree.
But that probably won't happen
Nope. I agree.
because we're busy. Like, these people believe in a different god, or you got like the IRA situation where, like, well, we believe in the same God, but we believe in him a little differently, so we're gonna blow each other up with nail bombs.
Right. Yep. Was it George Carlin skit? Do you believe in God? No. Death. Do you believe in
Yeah.
God? Yes. Do you believe in my God? No. Death.
Yep.
Like, it's so stupid. And it's I feel like people who get mad at atheists for pushing their agenda. Like, my agenda is to stop telling fairy tales to each other and figure out why we're actually here and figure out how to advance everything. How to make a better life for everybody. How to, like, learn to live together.
Yeah.
And you have some stupid ass fairy tale
Yeah,
that you're willing to
exactly.
shoot someone else over, you're kind of holding us back.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
If God. Okay, so let's just pretend God created the universe. Somehow he was actually able to do that. Why is there so much nothing?
Yeah.
Like, there's just so much empty space in space. 4 billion years from next Thursday, um, the Milky Way galaxy and the Andromeda galaxy are going to collide.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is there's going to be like very little damage to any planet, any sun. There's so much dead space between each star and planet. There's not expected to be much damage to anything. And like, with that being said, like, what's the point? If Jesus made all this and God made all this, like, why did He make it so fucking hard to get to anything else?
Exactly.
If there's another planet out
Yeah.
there with life, it's going to take millions and millions of years for us to get there or them to get here. Like, why? What's the fucking point?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, that's the reason why I really don't think that aliens ever visited us, because it could very well be impossible,
Right. I
because
agree.
they would have to carefully look in our direction, like, very, very precisely look,
Yeah.
and they'd have no reason to do so.
Right. When you
So,
consider how vast space is, if you're off by a millionth of a degree, you're going to be off by millions and billions of miles.
yeah,
The farther away you get. So it's
yeah,
so unlikely that we'll ever see other life forms. And if God created it all, what the fuck was the point of making it so difficult to get to?
yeah, exactly. Like, what's he doing
Is this some
unless
kind
he's
of
just,
asshole?
yeah, he's just a real bored kind of dick.
Yeah. I'm gonna make everything really difficult to get to. Bam. Do you
Yeah,
think he said bam when he made it?
yeah, 100%.
Bam.
Yeah, and then Chef Emerald stole that from him. Dude, Chef Emerald might be God when you think about it.
This is possible.
Yeah, we don't have to elaborate on it. Let's just assume that he is more than likely God.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
down.
he stole God.
Right.
We've established just now that Bam, God's catchphrase.
Yep. And hence 2/4. Emerald is God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess to sum it up is learn, just take a even a passing interest in science. Just try and go outside the box a bit. Learn about science, learn about space and the universe, and in the meantime, do whatever the fuck you want to do, because there's probably no afterlife.
Right.
Consequences.
Yep. I think that sums it up pretty well.
I think so.
So that's going to do it for us on this episode of the Church of Atheism podcast. Thank you again so much for listening. You can help support the podcast by going to patreon.com/Church of Atheism. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes and on our website, churchofatheism.xyz. Thank you again so much for listening. We'll talk to you guys next time.